Hello, everybody. Good afternoon or good morning, based on where you're at. So yeah, today we've got Dan Egerton here, and we're going to be talking through kind of this new matchmaker program with Diginius, and we'll have some time for questions and answers. If you do have any questions.
Very good friend, Nate.
Hey, Aaron, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Yeah, good.
I'm just telling my employees that this is my very good friend Nate. Is the one who's speaking and presenting.
Yeah, how's Toronto?
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, today is rainy, big time.
Yeah.
Today it's rainy, big time, but we had a beautiful weather for the past week, like almost 30 degrees Celsius. But today, yeah, we have rain.
Yeah, well, it's a scorching 20 or 22 or something in London today. So
That's nice.
yeah.
So I joined here two of my business associate. We have Kim and Bogdan, so they will view the presentation with us.
Cool. Yeah, so we've left we're gonna kind of make this not really a monologue really. We're going to try to do a discussion with having Dan and hear about him, and then also we want to make it quite interactive, so you can just unmute yourself and have a chat if something comes up. And yeah, so I guess to get started, I'm the founder and CEO of Diginius, and we work with agencies all over the world. We have over 800 agency partners in 60 countries that we support with our software and best practice, and in conjunction with Microsoft Advertising. And we've been testing for a while, that a lot of agencies are asking us about growth and so forth. So we've been testing, how to successfully introduce clients into agency partners and drive growth together in new business. And so that's kind of the topic of today. So Dan, I'd like to introduce Dan, and I've known you for 10 years, I think a lot of our partners do. So maybe if you could give a bit of background around your career, what you do, what you've done with agencies, and how you've helped grow and that sort of thing.
Great, perfect, thank you. And thanks for inviting me. It's great to be here. Great to have a chat with you all and hopefully share a few bits of knowledge that I've picked up over the last 10 years. So I'm a managing partner at Actus Consulting. We're an international growth consultancy. And what that really means is that we work with businesses to answer the difficult questions around how you grow a company, where you invest your time and energy and money and resources to maximize stakeholder value. And we do that really by focusing on 4 areas. First is around purpose. So why do you exist as a business, your longer term strategy, etc. People, how do you make sure that you've got an aligned team who are focused on the same thing, who are well rewarded, recognized, motivated, working cohesively together, and all those things. We do a lot in the sustainability space around B Corp certification. And then our final pillar is around performance. So that's both financial performance and new business performance. We have a lot of expertise in guiding businesses to build that new business engine, being clear around what their go-to-market strategy is, proposition, that tip of the spear. Yeah, that's about us. We're 10 years old. There's 8 of us in the team, all real experts in what we do, hopefully.
And I think before that, even you'd been in the agency world a bit as well, right?
Yeah, so before that, my sins, I was in corporate finance, buying and selling agencies, doing a lot in the M&A. Worked for a firm called Results International, which in its day were the preeminent corporate finance advisors to the marketing services world. So I understand what it takes to build a business for sale, and hopefully I'll share some of that knowledge as well too.
Yeah. Cool. And yeah, I mean, we can kind of get right into it. I think in terms of on the growth side, and in the life of an agency, it often goes from kind of start up with, working out of your house with, a client, and then getting a few more clients, and then hiring staff, and then kind of growing. And then at some point, often the hope is to, merge it into another agency and take an exit, or continue growing and merging, other agencies as part of the growth plan. But what are kind of the, I guess, in these successful exits, what are they, what are the things that buyers look for, or that you look for in that kind of journey, that can kind of get you to that, conclusion for a good retirement, as it were?
Yeah, that's a great question, and probably the best way to answer that would be to take everybody through a little bit of a tool that we built, the Business Performance Index. What I might do is share screen and pull that up, so then we can just kind of talk through different sections of that.
Yeah.
Must have sort out my technical things. So the Business Performance Index, which hopefully you can see here, is a tool that we built. It's based on a commercial due diligence tool. So it's really looking at what buyers prioritize when they are looking at making an investment. The way the tool is constructed is there's 8 areas, there's 10 questions in each area we go through when we're working with businesses, getting all the information we need to be able to answer the questions, provide our clients with a score, so it's numbers, numeric based, a score, a rationale for that score, and a recommendation on what they need to do to improve it. And that's kind of the first thing we do. And we like to do that up front, because when we're working with businesses, getting them ready for a sale and getting that final polish on it, it's good to look at it from a buyer's perspective. And that's probably the first message when you're looking to sell a business. You've got to think about it from the acquirer's perspective. So what do buyers value? If you start with financial performance, well, that's kind of obvious. I think what buyers are looking for more and more nowadays is $1 million of EBITDA, which might sound to some of you like a lot, but that's kind of where they're aiming to get you, where the deal kind of gets really exciting for them. The real reason behind that is somewhat mechanical, that it costs almost the same to do $1 million EBITDA, to buy $1 million EBITDA business, as it costs to buy a business that's doing 100,000 EBITDA. If you think about all the lawyers' fees and the distraction of management and all those things, there's that kind of component to it. The other side to it is that £1 million EBITDA business is just more established. You're managing the business more effectively, and so that's one of the big criteria. Is just a straight £1 million EBITDA is one of the things they're looking for. Now, the way you get there and the margins that you have to deliver that's also equally important. If we talk about the kind of the recurring revenue streams, that also adds points to the multiple, and that kind of revenue confidence is really critical. Just jumping around a little bit, people and culture, that is an area that buyers, obviously in this space, which is people-based businesses, really really dig into these days. They want to know that you've got a good management team that's aligned, where management is also incentivized. So things like EMI schemes are something buyers look out for. You also want layers of succession management. So I don't know if you all know, but a typical deal structure is probably around an upfront payment and a 3-year earnout. Now, if you don't want to be sitting there for 3 years, maybe even up to 5 years, you've got to have a good management team in place to be able to take over the running of the business as soon after day one as possible. So having that succession management is critical. And then the culture of the business. I mean, we're people-based businesses, cultural fit, the way in which you interact with the team, the way you look after each other, that's something that buyers, again, are really finding it very important. So that kind of covers us, people and culture and shareholders and senior team. Come back to new business and operations, I think, later, because Nate, you have a lot to add in that section. And then client mix, you don't want a client with more than 20% of your revenue. That sounds pretty obvious, but you'd be surprised the number of businesses that I see with significant clients are over-dependent. Proposition and offer, now that's something that becomes even that's important. You can't, there's enough agencies out there that are just saying everything else. Clients aren't looking for another same agency. They're looking for something a bit special these days. They're looking for either industry vertical specialism, they're looking for international reach, they're looking for businesses that stand out from the crowd. So getting that proposition and offer right is important. Operations, their buyers are looking for that real clarity around how you operate, making sure that you're not overcomplicating the business model. Let's all face it, business is hard enough already. And so it's a good, strong operational management controls. And really what a lot of these things come back to is about managing a buyer's risk. So if you think about it, the risk-return ratio that a buyer is going to be looking at, the less risk that they perceive within the business in terms of strong operations, good, solid revenue streams, strong management team, all of those things contribute to a higher multiple because they're going to be more prepared to pay for that type of business. So when I'm looking at companies and where buyers look at companies and what they're prioritizing, those are some of the things that I think you will need to consider within your business.
Yeah, when we talk a lot of agencies and also kind of clients, what we see is agencies typically have different ways that clients are acquired. A lot of it is relationship driven and kind of who who refers, client referrals, and this sort of thing. But often the agencies that tend to scale up the best and tend to be more profitable have picked certain verticals or vertical to kind of focus on. And so whether it's e-commerce or B2B or dealing with professional services like doctors, lawyers, dentists, and I guess what we see is that they and then the clients tend to like them as well because they have that sector expertise. And from a sales and marketing perspective, it gets much easier to acquire customers because you're talking the same language. From an operational point of view, the same problems, the same, like say if you got dentists that have certain geographical reach, then doing one dentist and then two and then three and then 20 isn't that much of a stretch because you're taking very similar keyword baskets, very similar tech stacks, and then kind of driving it through there. And so you might have a 30% operational benefit by handling the same type of customers as the rest and the teams. So if the team is working on the same type of business, instead of being pulled 17 different directions by 17 different clients, if they've kind of got the same flow, then it just seems to be a lot more profitable and scalable from both operations and sales and marketing perspectives.
And that's all really, I think, puts under there. Let's try and simplify business as much as possible. Let's know what you're working towards. Know that if you're clear about that tip of the spear of how you can get into clients and build those relationships because you can talk their language, because you really understand the industry that they operate within, the challenges that they face, it just makes all those conversations so much easier.
And I guess the other, if we're looking at the client, everybody, we talk a lot when we talk with agencies and go to events and about the client. Like we were at agency hacker comedy night the other night in London, and there was a video that was quite a good video talking about the nightmare client, and they want everything yesterday. They want this, they want ideas, and they don't want your ideas. They want and all these sorts of things. And so the kind of expectation of the client versus there's often a mismatch in terms of what the client expects or what the client's used to dealing with, or the agency, the fee structure, the operational, the chemistry, how do you see kind of the agencies that really get it right? How do you see them kind of working and selecting the clients and driving the performance and getting the margins and what do you see the trends that tend to work?
I think first of all, we have to be honest with ourselves. We're in a massively commoditized space. We start from that basis. It's difficult to differentiate ourselves. So you've got to work that a bit harder to be able to stand out for the crowd. I think what we've been touching on already in terms of industry specialisms and making sure that you really know your client. But I would say that the first thing is, and it always surprises me with agencies, is that they don't put the client at the center of what they do. Think about it from their perspective, think about the perception challenges. But if you really think about it from the client's perspective and you go through more of a consultative sale process, you're not trying to sell a product, you're trying to sell a solution, then you can build up those relationships, get into understanding the challenges that client is experiencing, partner with them around those. The key thing though is, as you said, that the businesses often try and take advantage of all that and try and suck all that knowledge out of you and then walk away and go for a lower cost supplier to actually do the actual work. So you do need to work out that kind of cut-off point. But hopefully through building relationship and recognizing that it's all personal, you can get to a point where they really value you as a trusted advisor and don't see you just as providing commodity. And so there it's all about the knowledge, the experience that you have, and making sure that you've got the credibility to be able to share all of that.
Yeah, one complaint we get a lot is how Google not lately, they've been doing it for a number of years, is working to disintermediate the agencies and just go to the clients and say, hey, we'll give you a free trial, 90 days, don't worry, give us, we'll help you, just put in your, and this type of thing. And it really is upsetting when they circumvent, like, hey, we earned that client, we pitched it, we set them up, we did all this, and then Google just comes in and says, oh, why do you need an agency? We'll do it for you. And I guess our kind of view on that, and particularly with the evolving landscape, is kind of to embed much better in a client. It's like to get the right media mix, and when going into the client, say, okay, yeah, if you're a B2B, you might need a mix of Google, Microsoft, LinkedIn, these kind of areas. If you're B2C, these are the social networks that you're on. This is where and kind of getting it to where you build a much more sophisticated service where the client, if Google calls up and says, oh, we'll do this, well, yeah, but you're not going to do that and that and that and that, or they're going to say, well, if it was just Google and I put my credit card in, fine, but if I've got a sophisticated offering or delivery of these different media platforms and so forth, then that's too complicated. I can't do that myself. I need an agency. And that's a reason to pay an agency. It's not just, okay, if I cut their fee, I can put more in the media. It's like, no, if I can get a 20% better yield on my media by working with an agency, then that's a reason to pay them their 10 or 15 points or whatever.
That's all about the knowledge, isn't it? The knowledge that you bring as a media agency to the clients. It's not just about the payment or transaction. It's about sharing your experiences, understanding what's going on in the marketplace, what the trends are, and bringing that to the client, because they've got another job to do at the end of the day. They can't specialize in this as well as everything else. But to do that, you've really got to understand your client business and take the time to build those relationships.
Yeah, which kind of gets back into the industry verticalization and so forth a bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I'll kind of walk through the program we're doing, and then we can kind of go from there, if that makes sense. I guess the premise of this Matchmaker program is, as a software company, we've had for years, we kind of go out to end clients, and when we talk to end clients, we go and say, hey, we've got this platform, automate your reporting, do these different things, and invariably what happens is once in a while they have a good in-house team and they say, okay, yeah, we can use that, but typically it's like, oh, it looks great, but we need somebody around can you do the ads? Or they say, hey, we work with an agency, talk to our agency. Or they say, well, we have an agency, but they're not very good. So, it's like, and so we kind of run into these different problems as a tech business. And we debate, do we try to set up a big agency in order to service this, in order to deliver software? But that doesn't make, that's a difficult proposition for us. And then And so that's why we ended up going and working with agencies to begin with, because we found agencies are a much better client for us, because the digital sophistication is quite high. We explain things to an agency once, replicate it. It's quite good partners to work with. And then in the last, we've been having a lot of discussions with our partners, and one of the big requests we've been getting is business and new business and so forth. And so we looked at it and said, and also just on a different level, I've been getting pressure from our board and our investors to say, hey, you got to figure that out, because you need to diversify the license revenue and get that. So we're looking at how do we solve these, and also all of our partners that we work with on the agency side, we work with in conjunction with Microsoft Advertising, and they also, they want you to grow and all this sort of thing. So, how do we put all this together? And so what we've, in talking to clients, what we see is the clients are looking for a partner as well. And we often we're like, hey, yeah, we know the right agency for you guys. We're doing an introduction, and when we're not selling to them as a third party, we can often, when we talk to the client, we say, no, we're not going to do your business, but we can, find somebody that would be good for you. And they tend to open up, much more than a traditional kind of sales, when there's a lot of trust issues and, okay, who are you? And, and the kind of dance that goes through in a sales process. So what, actually, I need to share the screen again. So what, we've been doing here is working to, those that work with us already know that we have a, this partner program with Microsoft where we deliver to the agencies for no charge our PPC software, a dedicated analyst, and financial incentives, both for new clients to try Microsoft, and then incentives for the agency for, based on the volume of Microsoft ads that they manage and so forth. And this referral piece is the way we're adding it in. And what we're saying to our, the clients that would come is to say, hey, we'll introduce you to an agency partner that will also include in the service our software, which we include in the licenses, so it's not a cost to the agency. And somebody that's good at a media mix and tech-driven, data-driven, because they have our software, and we support through the software and so forth. And so it's kind of bluntly, it's an indirect way for us to sell software licenses. And then with the agencies, most agencies have a partner program or a a lead referral program and so forth. And so we have a commercial team that'll discuss and say, okay, if we deliver, clients, what would be a reasonable fee for that delivery, and we work on it kind of in conjunction with our partner program. So we say, okay, when you first start with this, you need to at least evidence that you can manage some Microsoft ads, and then kind of move up, and then we unlock additional resources. So we do find it very effective to do a case study with the partner, so that when we introduce a client to an agency partner, we say, hey, here's the agency, here's a case study we did with them, here's how they work, and here's kind of a background of them, and then when we introduce the agency, we also take a brief from the client. So it's not just an intro, but our consultants will have had a meeting and gone through kind of what the brief is, because again, the fit we see is, okay, what's the industry, what's the vertical, what's the size of the company, what's the media budget, what are they looking for? Is it just Google and and Microsoft, or is it also Meta or TikTok or Amazon ads or whatever it is? And we're looking to move the whole business. It's not like, oh, here's a Microsoft ad account that needs managed. Just no, we want to move the whole account to the agency. And then we also have an SDR and sales team that we'll put behind this as well. Actually, Stefan, you're there on the screen. You want to say hello? I'll pick on you.
Yes, hi, good afternoon, everybody, or good morning, where you are situated. Yes, I'm part of the sales team, and our main focus is to go out to agencies and then, just speak about the value that we can offer them to grow and scale their campaigns on the Microsoft platform. Thanks, Nick.
Yeah, thanks, Stefan. So, yeah, we have a team, quite a good size team based in South Africa, where we cover the English-speaking world, from West Coast US to East Coast to Canada, Europe, Australia, kind of in any English-speaking market, Central Europe, Western Europe, etc. So as we kind of work with the agencies, we'll kind of interview and say, okay, what the vertical, and we also are integrating all the accounts, the Microsoft accounts that we see with Microsoft. So we're getting kind of the API connections in from them to classify all the different accounts, so we can see the specializations, the spends, and so forth. And then when we do match, we'll work to match and say, okay, what's your minimum fee? What's your typical ad size? And so that way we get the kind of both sides working. And we've actually in the testing we've done so far before rolling this out, anywhere from a U.S. legal company to to brands, to we're getting some stuff out of Asia, like one of the largest car manufacturers in the world. We're able to introduce to one of our partners that's looking to expand into kind of UK and US, and so it is getting quite interesting on how that goes. How we're generating the leads. So we do have a lot of, like our SDR team we mentioned, we do have a lot of activity on our sales and marketing going. We have a bit of machinery in email and cold calls and all these different areas, and then ways to pick up people looking for PPC agencies. And then we've also entered into a partnership with kind of one of the top lead gen companies in the world that manages, like Amazon, all 5 divisions of Amazon globally. They manage all their lead gen. They do it for Microsoft, for Dell. And so we're starting to test at certain levels as we figured out, like anything in advertising, we like to spend $100 or spend something very small and really nail it and then ramp it up. And so because like any of these programs, if we can go out and deliver 2 leads a quarter to all our partners, that's not going to get anybody excited. We're looking at how do we move the markets at scale to drive business to our partners that we work with around the world. And we also are working on a kind of blacklist of all Microsoft domains that are currently managed by our partners. So we exclude that from our outbound marketing, because we're not interested in moving business kind of from one to another. It's more from people that clients that aren't currently working with any of our partners. And the way it kind of works for the client, if you look at our website, you'll see a page called PPC Matchmaker. They can fill out a form, then they'll get a interview, kind of a meeting with one of our consultants. They'll go through all of the different where you're located, what you're looking for. We've got also a white paper, like quite an extensive white paper written for the clients about how do you choose the right PPC agency, and a lot of the decision-making process that need to go through, because a lot of clients haven't really thought it through very well, don't have the expertise. So we're working on that. Any suggestions people have, we very happy to take that, and then talk about, do you want somebody local, do you want somebody that's an expert but you might not be able to meet with in person, or etc. And then we kind of evaluate based on what they're looking for and who we have, what deals we have in our books, and then we'll make one match. So we're not looking to broker it out, to send it to 3, to we don't want people pitching, like I can't stand it. I mean, I personally hate writing pitches, or hate RFPs, and it's just so much work. And so we don't want to create like, oh, here's 15 people, go pitch for it kind of thing. So we'll try to make one introduction, and then our sales team will follow that up to work to help close that. Then for the agency, again, like we talked about, we have a when you kind of get to a certain level, book a team. Actually, Jasser, you're here. Jasser's the kind of partner development manager, he'll he has the calls with the agencies and works out the terms and so forth. If you want to say hello.
Yeah, hey guys, nice to meet you all, and thank you for joining today. So, as Nate mentioned, Jassa, so I'm partner development manager at Diginius. Yeah, so working here 7 years now, multiple hats worn in that time, but we're really excited with what we're kind of spinning up on this side on the client referrals. I'm your contact, or will be your contact, for getting started on this program and to answer any questions kind of moving forward. So looking forward to connect with you kind of after the call. As Nate mentioned, really excited for what we have on this side. It's a white glove touch for the clients themselves. So they come in, they'll go on the phone with someone like me. We'll talk them through their requirements, and then we'll look to make a single introduction to one of the partners that's the best fit based on the criteria. And if we look at how it kind of works for the agencies as well, one of those pieces is actually talking to you guys about what your kind of ideal client fit is. So, what does it look like for you in terms of fees? Do you have minimum ad spends? What's your vertical expertise, specializations of your agency? If you do just PPC paid social, or you do SEO or CRO work, whatever it might be, we'll take that all into account for what the kind of client's brief is and look to make the strongest kind of match between those partners for you.
Yeah, and then when that is introduced, we also, part of the onboarding into this part of the program is we have established kind of a relationship with a platform called PartnerStack, which is partner management, and then it's like basically affiliate management software for B2B companies. So it's a US company. They do like Apollo's partner program and all those sort of things. So what we'll do is any lead we send you, will also register that lead to your agency, and you just, there's no cost to it. We'll send you an invite to it, and you'll sign up, and then we'll log that to your agency. And then because every client will give a base license to our software, Diginius Insight software, and then if at some point they want to upgrade that, like it'll include, say, lead intelligence, so they can identify who's on their website, or for sales purposes, it often helps, particularly to B2B, to help the salespeople identify and close leads. So they'll be given as part of the kind of delivery the base version, and then at some point, if it's a bigger company or they need more data, they can upgrade, and that lead will be registered to you. And so if they do upgrade, you'll be the client of record, the referrer of record for that client, and receive a sales commission on the software license. Not as well, because you'll have to pay us for the referral, but we'll pay you back for the upgrade, if that makes sense. And yeah, that's that program. So I thought I would pause there and see if there's any discussion, questions for Dan, anything at all from anyone.
If I may.
Yep. Hey, Marco.
Hey there. Sorry, I'm the kind of guy that actually deals with a lot of those guys that want everything done yesterday and don't have anything prepared. And it's starting to become such a hassle. I'm actually thinking about strangling someone, but it's okay. Everybody's been there. So what I was actually trying to comprehend, and it's going to take me a couple of days likely for it to dawn to me, is there a way we can get this whole thing, the whole presentation, in kind of like a 5-6 PPT presentation, so we can go through it and see what's up there? It's a little bit hard to understand. There's a lot of talk and stuff like that.
Yeah. So we'll following it, we can send out the presentation, and we can send out a recording, and yeah, no problem. And then yeah, you feel free to book a call with Jasser and talk it through in more detail as well.
Well, once I clear out those guys, I will.
Yeah, well, good luck with yeah.
Yeah, it's well, it's not, it doesn't warrant a conversation. It's just what it is. It is what it is. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and that's kind of what you'll be seeing a lot more updates from us in the future on the software, as we are working to build our software into kind of like an ERP system for PPC agencies. Like we've just released, we haven't announced it yet, but we have released, like, recently, the ability to bill clients automatically. in terms of it's initially a zero integration. But one of the problems we keep hearing is like it takes like 2 days at the end of the month to go through all the different 40 clients and all the different deal structures and pull in all the data from all the different platforms. And so yeah, with Diginius Insight now you can say connect up all your clients, enter in all the different crazy deals that everyone wants to do, and then we'll automatically pull in all the data from all the ad networks, apply your invoice, push it to 0, and then you can do a final review before just hitting the button on 0. And so those are the kinds of things we're working on as well to help
If
make
it's
the
gonna
agencies more
work,
efficient.
yeah, if it's gonna work better than Odoo, I'm very happy to hear it. That's what we're basically for ERP stuff using at the moment. But yeah, I'm not gonna take a presentation away from you. I'm looking forward to the PPT, and I'm gonna be silent now. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Marco.
I have a
Questions?
question. Yeah, in general. So like with this kind of program or approach, do you already have like some clients that are interested in this, that they are going that like are actively already looking for agencies? And for like the first next step then for like our side, like how do we just organize an initial call with you guys? Is that kind of like a link shared out, or what's the process there?
Yeah, so we've been actively matching. We always test things before we release it. So yeah, we have been actively matching agencies, and now we're with clients. So yeah, to get I guess the steps, first of all, you need to join. If you're not a member of our partner program, you need to join our partner program as a whole, and then get some clients on Microsoft, because we are doing this in conjunction with Microsoft Advertising, and then yeah, just book a call. You'll get an account manager anyway, so you can mention it to your account manager. Email me, Jasser, Grow at Diginius. Yeah, we're generally fairly easy to get in touch with, and then we can kind of set you up.
Cool, perfect, thank you.
Hi, sorry, yeah, I have another question as well. Do you have any like minimum kind of spends that we need to be, spending with Microsoft in order to qualify for the program?
Initially, no. We've set up hundreds of agencies that have never dealt with Microsoft before, and so we help set up a Microsoft practice, and
Okay.
and then so yeah, we're quite used to. There's a lot of it's a little more complicated than Google, really. So help set up the MCC, help the right structure, get that kind of stuff going, and then the only qualification we're making to join to kind of add into the Matchmaker program is to have at least 5 clients on Microsoft with 25K a quarter in spend, which
Okay.
we're also quite. Our analysts can help identify, and like we have vouchers, like spend 100 get 500, or I think we're working on some big multiples now. We're trying to get approval to ramp it up, but some kind of big multiple vouchers for new clients. But we are quite good at analyzing, and in fact we're working on one of the other questions we get is how do we pitch to clients, like what do you get on Microsoft, so we're getting, it'll be released this quarter, hopefully this month or next month, a analyzer of a Google account. So you can basically take a client Google account, put it in, we'll audit the Google account, give you a bunch of feedback on that, but then also push another button and it'll do a forecast, and it'll say, okay, based on your Google account, this is what we forecast you would get on Microsoft. And you can basically just take that to the client and say, all right, we're spending 10 grand a month on Microsoft. The CPA is $88. Or on Google. With Microsoft, you might be able to launch an account. We would expect, say, $2K a spend, but a $62 CPA as opposed to 80 or whatever on Google. So we'll have tools like that to help with pitching.
And sorry, and that 25K figure that you mentioned, is that per client or overall?
Aggregate per total, yeah, not per client.
Total. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, Nate, Iteran. In regards to the coupons, I'm not sure if you're aware, Google just increased their coupons from 600 to 1500.
Yeah.
With the coupons, so hopefully Microsoft will match. They usually following Google with their coupons offerings.
Yeah, we expect to match or beat that.
Okay, excellent.
Hiya, I don't know if I can speak at all. It's Danny here from ID30.
Hi, Danny.
Hi, how you doing? I am a client of you guys. I've been using you for several years now, weirdly enough. It's quite a while, I think probably from the first inception. I'm based over in the UK. And I've got to be honest with you, I've used many different providers across Google, etc., who have a similar kind of setup. But this is probably the best one that I have been on in regard to dealing with this type of partner relationship. I will say for anyone who's not already using you guys, you are an absolute no-brainer for the simple reason being obviously the way that you work with Google is very different in the UK to how you work with Bing. The setup, I agree, can be a little bit cumbersome, let's say, for instance. So it is nice that if you are an agency or starting out agency or someone who's never used Bing before, you guys are really there to actually help and support. For ourselves, you know, we're a very much seasoned agency, been going for 20 years, so we kind of understand a lot of the platforms that are out there. But for anyone who's starting out, to use you guys, it's a no-brainer. And then likewise for any large agency, I think they should be using you as well, mainly because of the kickbacks that you get, and likewise because of the support that you get, the vouchers that you will be able to gain access to, and likewise just the support in general. I do like the fact that you are now putting in place this referral scheme, which I think is something which will only help the people that are signing up to use you guys as a partner. For me to use you guys is just an absolute no-brainer. Literally, it is. It's easy as pie, and the benefits that you get far outweigh, to be quite frank, zero negatives. I've not got one negative at all using you guys as a partner. You just sit there in the background. If we need you, we'll jump on board and have a call. But to be fair, I think I've probably had 2 or 3 phone calls with you in that. I don't know, 3, 4, 5 years that I've used you now. I can't remember how long it's been. The only issue we have, I think, in the UK as agency owners is we have a lot of clients using Google. We have a lot of clients using Facebook, Instagram, TikTok now, the big boy that's coming up behind everybody. But the same old additive in the UK with Google versus Bing is that the Bing network in the UK is just not that vast. So, you know, you don't get to be able to spend too much money on Bing because the budget doesn't allow it, because of the size of the Bing platform itself in the UK. I just don't think there's that much search volume in comparison to all the other channels that are available. So the only negative we have really is not with you guys at all. It's just with the Bing platform and its exposure that it has in the UK market versus, you know, some of your international partners. You know, it's going to be very different. In America, I can imagine, obviously, Bing is a bigger platform than what it is out in the UK. So that's the only negative I have, to be honest. So yeah, just thought I'd give you that feedback.
Thanks, Danny. It's very much appreciated. Yeah, we see I mean, we're based in London, and you know, we see in the UK, it's the market share of Bing is it's probably the biggest complaint we get. The US does have bigger. Some of the emerging countries have a lot less. Western Europe generally is might be 10% of the market as opposed to 90% Google. We are in some discussions with Microsoft to work on some programs to address that, which could be interesting in coming years.
Yeah, I mean, with all the updates that they've had and all of the exposure with AI, etc., that has definitely opened up the gates a little bit more compared to what it used to be several years ago. So there definitely is a vast improvement. However, I do feel like that's kind of waned off recently. So I think the hype was there, everyone's jumped on board, and now it's kind of just dissipated a little bit. So it's just gone down. So I do see it shrinking again somewhat.
It is the number of active users has kind of broken 140 million a day now on Bing, and which it was 100 million a year ago. So it is continuing to grow. I mean, that's globally, but
yeah.
yeah, this AI has gotten a lot of people quite interested, and it is kind of slow because a good AI search is you're gonna generate one search instead of 5. So to kind of increase a few, and that's what Google's quite scared of, because their business model is based on mini searches and mini ads, and if you only need to make 1 or 2 searches instead of 5 or 8, then it's a very different business model. Microsoft doesn't care because they've got nothing to lose, so they'll slowly, we see it as a kind of a gradual shift, not nothing overnight.
Yeah, I mean, I do like being mainly from the point of view, you do tend to get quite possibly a better quality of client. You do get a lower cost per acquisition. The value is there. Unfortunately, it's just the volume, and that's the only let down with it.
Yeah, I was when we were exploring whether to really go heavy into Microsoft. It was before COVID. I was over in Dublin. Went to, Google's got their thing there, that Microsoft does, and I was at Microsoft and I was talking to different people, and I remember there's these 2 guys from a big insurance company, and I was like, "What do you guys see on Bing?" And they were like, 50% better CPA. We just wish there was more volume. And
Yeah,
so I was like,
totally.
well, that's
I mean,
not bad though,
No, it's not bad. I mean, for the B2B industry, I absolutely love Bing. I just think it's absolutely, it far outweighs a lot of the problems that you have with Google in regard to the cost per acquisition, for definite. And I think Bing in the UK is a really nice B2B platform, primarily because I think it sounds pretty obvious, but I think most businesses, whether you're a lawyer, insurance, or that type of sector, service-led that way, you do find most office-based companies tend to be Bing-based rather than Google-based. That's probably down to the hardware that they've got.
Yeah, I've got a friend that works in a bank in the US, and they won't let Google in their infrastructure because of security risk. So they lock down their entire networks and say you can only use Microsoft products and Bing because they don't trust Google from a security perspective. And so you do have some corporate guys that will only allow that in their networks as well.
Yeah, which is good. Which I think relates back to one of the previous conversations from the beginning. When it comes to selling your agencies, or looking at EBITDA and trying to understand what vertical you're in, what sectors you're in, and I think depending on what sectors you're in, Bing, definitely for the B2B side of things is probably one of the better research platforms that's out there from my point of view. But yeah. So look, that's my 2 pence worth in. So for anyone who's out there who is new, this is not a setup, by the way. No one's told me to say this, but what I will say to you as an agency owner, these guys are brilliant when it comes down to what benefits you get as an agency owner. And literally, you can start from 0 and work your way up. And to be fair, whether it takes you 1 year or 4 years, if these guys are still around, you can onboard customers at really no cost at all, but just everything which is beneficial. And if you can grow your client base up to become either a silver, gold, or platinum partner, then even better. You get on the referral program, which these guys are trying to instigate now, which could be of use to you as well. So yeah, that's it.
Thanks. Yeah, in business school they taught us to always plant questions, and we were talking about before and we forgot to plant any questions, so we've got nothing scripted here. So.
Hopefully I've done your sales pitch for you then. Well, yeah, really the no-brainer, guys. Well, thanks very much, and I'll go on mute.
All right, we owe you dinner, Danny. We're actually we're thinking of doing a road show to start with in the UK, and then we'll go from there. But to kind of go around to different cities and just get together with agency owners and have dinner or whatever. And
yeah, well, in that case, then get yourself to Manchester. It's a stone's throw away from me, and actually, it's a good night out, and it's a good place to eat.
Yeah, and if you can get us a restaurant organized, that'd be great, because I have no clue. Last time I almost got, it was a rough night in Manchester when I was trying to find a restaurant too late. All the bouncers and the crazies.
I'm there tomorrow night, weirdly enough, seeing clients. It's a good place to meet clients, go out, have a few drinks and talk business. But yeah, there's definitely lots of places to go and book restaurants. So yeah, next time you're over here, just let me know. I might be able to sort some out for you.
Cool. Sounds good. We'll get that.
Right, I'll go on mute. Cheers, guys. Thanks.
Cheers, Danny. Yeah, anybody?
Hey,
any other questions?
Following on from what Danny said, is there any thoughts of adjusting the spend threshold per region, country, or whatever to join the partner program? Because you know, again, like Danny, we've been with you a number of years now. We put every client we can on Microsoft, and our biggest constraint, being UK based, is just exactly what Danny said, is the volumes. But we'd love to be part of the partner program as well. So just wondered whether there was any views to scaling it based on actual potential volumes.
Yeah, I would say just have a chat with Jasser. Like there's we do work on we actually have a number of pilots that we do with different agencies. We like Aaron, who talked earlier. We've done some very interesting. He's got some kind of interesting clients sometimes, and so we generally work with partners. Like on the one of the most used tools we have is the publisher network, where you can optimize the publisher network with our tools to identify the ones that work well and the ones that don't, cut out easy, and it's much more efficient using that than trying to do it manually in the Microsoft platform. And so like Aaron was one of the clients we work with really closely in building out some of the technology we released to everybody. We've got another agency recently that you know, is an e-com company that focuses on WordPress and WooCommerce, and so we've built a Shopify app where it's on the Shopify App Store, and you can go and use that. It'll automatically create your feed, integrate, do the tracking, and you can manage the feed much easier on Microsoft Shopping. And so they want us to do that into WooCommerce. So we're going to work with them kind of closely. And so, yeah, we'll say, okay, yeah, if you do that, then sure, we'll kind of, you know, figure out something and look at, you know, what they're looking for. There's, yeah, you know, we're here to support agencies, and, you know, and yeah, we do need to move things up in volumes and all that. But if there's a business case, or another thing we're working on, which could be of interest, is, you know, how do we productize and basically help agencies develop new services. So one of the big pushes from Microsoft is connected TV and Netflix, and in order to offer that, most agencies don't currently have the abilities to do that, or the knowledge to run, or no, I don't say most, but a lot haven't had the experience in media budgets in TV and so forth. And so we're looking at how do we put together a toolkit to help support agencies develop that practice, to be able to go to the clients and say, hey, yeah, if you want to run ads on Netflix and connected TV, we can help you. We've got the toolkit, you know, the information, how to optimize it, how to report on it, and all that. And so we're working to develop that. So if, you know, if people are interested in those types of things, let us know, and we, you know, we're working on those types of things to kind of roll out to support, you know, revenue generation. And a lot of our partners have gotten, you know, been able to win business with, say, the Netflix pilots. We're also in discussions with Microsoft about Activision, and them giving us first access to Activision pilots for our partners. And so we expect that to be interesting for a lot of kind of clients and verticals. So again, we'll be sending that out. But yeah, do get in touch, Sean, if you have. Yeah, we're looking for, you know, how do we expand either our relationship, technology, how can we support things better? We you know, we're one of the things that we worked with some is looking at the Google account and the Microsoft account, but you typically, you know, Microsoft is mainly desktop traffic, so they have a pretty good, decent share of desktop traffic. Google, if you divide out the Google traffic and you look at your clients and you say, what's the performance on the Google desktop versus the Google mobile? Typically the desktop performs a lot better. And so if a client says, oh, we don't have the budget, we say, well, you know, look at that mobile traffic and take some of that budget and move it over to Microsoft. And so you can do that at a small scale, but we've also had people at a very large scale moving millions, and often getting a 2-to-1 ratio in performance, moving it from Google mobile to Microsoft desktop. And yeah, the clients are happy. And yeah, it's a more efficient media spend. So Any other comments or questions?
Hi, Jeremy here. Can you hear me?
Hey, Jeremy. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So when we're in talks with being an agency partner, is there any prep work we as an agency can do before that meeting, like provide you guys with case studies or anything like that?
Yeah. So what? Yeah, case studies and your marketing, that's very helpful. I mean, what we want to do is also a case study with you eventually, and then we're aligning all of our outbound sales and marketing with our partners. So we've made a kind of a corporate decision to only target verticals where we have in regions that we have partners that can deliver the services, and so so we basically will kind of work with you, identify what are the areas, what's the brief, how do we go out so that we kind of, and with our sales team, like one of our sales team used to work for Rainmaker, which is a big kind of B2B like appointment booking company. So they'll go to the big tech companies and like Oracle and or whatever, they get their contracts and they'll give it the contracts to the sales guys, and each salesperson has an SDR function of, say they have 4 clients and their job is just cold call and email whatever and book meetings for those clients. And so our kind of plan to roll this out is to for the I mean, I have to be blunt, right? It's not everybody will be able to get this because we can't offer everybody, but the bigger ones, particularly the ones that can handle volume, will assign a dedicated kind of SDR, maybe not dedicated, but that SDR, that salesperson on our side will have maybe 4 or 5 agency partners that they work with to get to know really well, get to know your business really well, and then go after those verticals that are your kind of ideal customer profile verticals. And then as we find deals, that they'll find deals, but they won't always fit to you, right? So because you may have, hey, my minimum fee is 2K and I want this, and then they find one that's 1K and say, okay, yeah, we can introduce you to that guy because we know that one handles that type of customer and so forth. So yeah, any kind of the more we'll be building profiles and working closely to really build, we want to understand your agency as deeply as we can, so that we can target those markets and deliver business. And if you look at it from our perspective, right, we're a SaaS technology company. My valuation of our company or our company is based on recurring revenue and SaaS recurring revenue. We're looking at ways to scale sustainably and drive our valuation up. And the contract that we have, the referral contract, it's a license agreement, right? So we'll give a license agreement that's based off of what you pay us as the introduction fee and deliver software through that. And so for us, it helps our valuation. So we've worked to align kind of our future fortunes with our partners. That's what we're doing. So, and then we would hope that structuring that gives you the growth and efficiencies as well to align with your business goals is kind of how we're working to structure it. Another question for Dan. When you work with kind of agency clients, what are the types of engagements you do and the kind of the desired outcomes?
Great question. The types of engagements, typically we run something called the business growth program, which is all about taking a business from a state maybe of frustration around the performance of the business and not being able to make the changes that they want to the company, to a point where there's clarity around the direction of travel, around what the financial model looks like, the organizational structure. And then where I think we're quite different from a lot of other advisories, we roll up our sleeves and actually support the management team hands-on to make the changes and the recommendations needed to grow the company. And that ranges from everything from proposition and offer through to new business strategy, through to organizational structure and making sure you've got high-performing teams in the business, etc. What are we trying to do with it all? think first one is make your business a better, more enjoyable place to be. Because I know it's a hard slog, especially right now. Second is improved margins and financial performance. And then I think the third one is to have a saleable business, because you do have to have quite a special asset right these days to have something that is saleable. And so it's about honing that asset to make sure that it's meeting what buyers are looking for, and that you get the exit that you're looking to achieve.
Cool. Thank you. I think we're out of time. Yeah, I think thank you everyone for attending. Love to get in touch with you, so feel free to get in touch with us any through your account manager, or my email is just nate.burke@diginius.com, grow at Diginius anyway, and we'll be happy to support you. And we're planning to grow by working with our agencies to help them grow, and that's kind of our direction moving forward. So we'd love to work with you closer and support you in achieving your growth and your objectives. So thank you all, and have a great rest of the week.